And we are going to move on right along. We got two more topics for y'all on this Sunday. It's Mother's Day. We want to get y'all back to y'all mothers. Thank y'all for taking the time to watch the show. We got two more. Let's go. With the Lakers on the verge of elimination. They're about to be in Cancun with Jaylen Brown and Tyrese Maxey and Embiid, right? LeBron James, get your trip on. Okay, start booking your flight, LeBron James. Okay, book one for Savannah. I'm about to say Savannah, Georgia. Savannah James and Bronny James and Bryce James and whoever, all the James. Listen, get ready. I'm about to be there. With the Lakers on the verge of elimination against the Thunder, should LeBron James go to Cleveland, go to State, or return to LA? Lee, the mic is yours.
Yeah, LeBron has had a very good season this year. He's played well. For being 41, going on 42, he's really, really is a freak of nature, and I respect everything that he's done. LeBron's wearing down in the playoffs, man. He's wearing down in the playoffs. You can see it as the game goes on. He's missing shots. He's turning the ball over. You see it. It's a direct result of the plastic man. You know the plastic man is, don't you? Luka gets hurt every 5 minutes. Every year he's been hurt. He's the plastic man. He gets hurt all the time. So that forced LeBron to play heavier minutes. And so do I think the Lakers are a championship team even with Luka? No, I don't. I don't think they're better than OKC. I don't think that they're better than San Antonio. I don't even think that they're better than Minnesota, right? So what do we do now? What do we do now? I think if LeBron is smart, I don't think he's going to do this because I think he's coming back to LA. He's got a lot going on in LA. But for me, I say end the story in Cleveland. End the story in Cleveland. It'll be a beautiful, beautiful thing for him to end the story in Cleveland. Cleveland needs some help, man. Cleveland got all that talent and can't do anything with it. They need some leadership. They don't have any assassins on there. LeBron would be great working with those guys. I did hear that he's intrigued by San Antonio. So if San Antonio gets eliminated in the Western Conference Finals, I think, he's intrigued by going to San Antonio. But I think going to Cleveland will be great for LeBron, for the city of Cleveland, and the Cavaliers team. I would love to see him in Cleveland. Back in the Eastern Conference, it's an easier road, and I think it would be special for him to end his career in Cleveland on the Cavaliers. What a great, great story. It would be the greatest NBA story of all. He won't be the GOAT, but it'll be the greatest NBA story of all time.
I mean, what a hell of a coincidence right there. I agree. I mean, look at this comment. Every time AD is traded, a team that trade gets the number one pick. Pelicans, Dallas, Wizards. I mean, hey, I think it's indicative of your name. Here we go again, literally. Literally, here we go again, right? AD. Look, for me, the way how I look at it is LeBron James should retire a Laker because the Lakers give him the best chance to compete for a title. And look, I'm not the biggest LeBron James fan. I made that very clear on this show plenty of times. I'm not a fan of his career choices, his PR press conferences, but I do respect LeBron James as a basketball player. I do respect LeBron James' basketball intelligence, even at the age of 40 years old, being adaptable to the role that he needed to play throughout this entire season. That really changed throughout this entire season. When Luka was healthy and Austin Reeves was cooking, he had to evolve and pick his spot to be the number 3. He had to impact winning in different areas. And because he's so brilliant, he was able to do so. And then obviously in wake of Luka's injury, he had to go back to being the guy, and he was able to do so as well, effectively getting the Lakers up to this point. So to me, you look at him, ever since he turned 40 years old, he has played in 56 games in which he logged at least 35 minutes, more than Michael Jordan, more than Kareem Abdul-Jabbar combined. So to me, in an era of load management, with a different type of mentality when it comes to NBA players, I think LeBron James has done enough this year for not only for him to want to come back, before the Lakers to want him back as well. Because I'm not gonna lie, at one point it was getting annoying. All that PR and airing out his frustrations in front of everybody was getting annoying. I would have traded him 2 years ago, but I think his game and his willingness to be a teammate, a good teammate, obviously very smart player, adaptable, is why I think both parties should want a return for next year. You look at LeBron James, especially in the series against Houston. Obviously, Houston was the more athletic team, but he still was able to constantly beat those players back in transition, being that downhill offensive hub that he was. And look at this series against the Thunder. The Lakers, we all know they had no shot to win this series, but I also thought they looked very capable of being competitive as they were in the first half of these games.
Yeah.
They were very competitive. Unfortunately, the Thunder is just so overwhelming. They got so much talent. They got arguably the best player in the game right up there in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's probably going to win another MVP. Then you got guys out here like AJ Mitchell coming out of the woodwork, dropping 24 points, 10 assists, 4 rebounds, and steals, 3 steals in game 3. I mean, listen, the Thunder is tough, man. And they was aggressively haunting Austin Reeves. Austin Reeves kind of tailed off in this series. So with that being said, the Lakers, we cannot forget that they were playing their best ball. I understand it's the regular season, but they were playing their best ball before Luka went down. I would have loved to see how they look with Luka healthy. I just don't think LeBron James is going to Cleveland and getting that fairy tale ending. I just don't think that LeBron James is going to Golden State and him and Steph, although dynamic, sure, that's enough to win a championship. It's not. So to me, LeBron James' best opportunity, and listen, either way you go, I don't think LeBron James is winning another chip. I think his best shot to do it is on the team that he's on right now, and that's the Lakers.
Yeah, I'm gonna push back on that, Leo. I think his best opportunity certainly would be to go to the East. It's an easier path in the East. Look, you put LeBron on the Cavs team that they have right now, because the Cavs team right now have no identity whatsoever. They have no identity. They, what's his name? I forget his name.
Mitchell.
Mitchell. He's the quietest, most unassuming star in the NBA, right? And then Harden, he can't win to save his life. He disappears. So putting Bron on that team with the talent that they have, because they have a lot of talented players. They're deep. They just don't have someone to lead them with a killer instinct. That would be perfect. And it would allow LeBron to play between 28 and 30 minutes a game, Leo. 28, 30 minutes a game. Keep him fresh for the playoffs. I think it would be a great, great story. And I give them, look, if LeBron went to Cleveland, they would be right up there with the Knicks for odds to win the championship. I just because Cleveland's a deep, deep team. I just didn't think they don't have a killer instinct. I would love to see him back in Cleveland. I think he brings the intangibles that the Cavaliers don't have right now, and it would be a great, great story in my opinion.
I mean, look, the East is going to be better than what it was this year, and this year has not even been bad, to say the least. I mean, I think a lot of people thought the East would have been worse than what it is right now. The Knicks, although we playing some hella good basketball right now. So yeah, it looks like back to square one. But before we started going on this tangent, I mean, it was open. Pistons, number 1 seed. They look good right now. They might beat Cleveland. They looking like they will. I would bet on them to beat Cleveland. Cleveland is still a decent team, even though James Harden picks and chooses when he wants to show up and whatnot. He's another guy in the playoffs. You can't count on him, right? But still a very deep team, a very good team at that, right? The Magic, although, terrible year. I thought they would have been a top 4 seed in the Eastern Conference. Very, very a failure of a year. Was up 3-1. If they didn't choke, they probably would have advanced. So to me, next year, you're going to have Tyrese Halliburton back. The Pacers should be better than where they were again this year. So teams should be better. And to me, like, I understand LeBron James made a career of dominating a conference, which was the Eastern Conference, right? He dominated that conference, had that conference locked. I just don't think at his age he could come there and do it again. Personally.
A lot of talent, though. He got a lot of talent to play with. It's not even about him being the single most dominant player in the conference is the fact that he has a team full of talented players that his IQ, his basketball acumen, his big play potential, and how his makeup is would certainly take them to a different level. And he doesn't have to be the dominant player on the team. He has to lead them. And I just think with all the teams you just named, none of them would scare me. The only team that would be competition would be the Knicks, and I agree with that. I don't even think Detroit would be a team that Cleveland would have to fear with LeBron on there. It would only be the Knicks, and so I think it's so much of an easier path than staying with the Lakers and trying to run that gauntlet of all the teams that are in the West, because the West just keeps getting better and better and better. You look at, Minnesota, Dallas will be much better with Kyrie back next year. Houston, if they get a point guard, they may even be, it's a tough out irregardless. So there's a lot of tough teams, Denver, it's a lot of tough teams. Portland's getting better. Sacramento got Utah got the number one pick. So it's a lot of things going on in the West. The East is much, much, much easier. So I hope he doesn't stay with the Lakers. I think he will, but I would love to see him in Cleveland.
I mean, look, I'm not, and this is my last point, I'm not going to disagree in the sense of, who's the easier conference. Even though I made points that I believe the East would be better next year, sure. The Western Conference has always been, for the most part, the last decade superior than the Eastern Conference. It's been like that for a lot of years. And LeBron James being in the Eastern Conference has dominated the Eastern Conference. So he knows how easy it is to dominate there. As soon as he went to the Western Conference, it's been a struggle to make the finals. Yep. Obviously, he did that 1 year with the Lakers in the bubble, but ever since then, he hasn't had a lot of success in that conference. But for continuity purposes, I do believe that before Luka went down, we can't have short-term memory here. The Lakers were playing some of the best basketball of the entire season. And I just would like to have seen how far they could have went if their team was healthy. And that's why I will leave it. But anyway, we're going to move on to the final topic on today's show. And we're going to talk about the NBA as a whole, because today was the draft lottery, and the lottery is going to look different next year. And Lee, I want to know your thoughts on the proposal that is designed to address teams tanking. And if you want to explain to my listeners, how the lottery is going to look and how different it's going to look, by all means, and then take it away.
Yeah, this new, Adam Silver introduced this new NBA draft lottery for next year. It's going to be composed of 16 teams, and it penalizes the bottom three teams, Leo, as far as they trying to get teams to be competitive throughout the season. So no more the worst team get the most ping pong balls for the draft. Now the bottom three teams, they get penalized. They only get, teams 3, 2, and 1. They get lower ping pong balls than teams 4 through 10. So they want to make sure that the teams 3, 2, 1 don't tank to try to get the most ping pong balls to give them the advantage to get the number one pick. Look, for me, I mean, it's going to expand it from 14 to 16 teams. I mean, look, guys, lotteries and drafts are set up for teams that are bad to get a shot at the best players so they can get better. So competitive advantage, you want the worst team to get better. And that's what drafts are about. Baseball, football, any draft, right? That's what it's about. Forget all this tanking stuff. Look, these teams that have been in the draft lottery, the Wizards and all these teams, Sacramento and all these teams, they still haven't gotten it right? And so I don't see it as much of a problem as Adam Silver sees it. And we've talked about tanking on this show many times. I think the media makes a big deal out of it, but I don't think this solves anything. All you're going to do now, and if you're the worst team, you have to play at the end of the season so you can get to the 4th slot. I get that. It makes it a little more competitive. But Leo, we're only talking about the bottom 10 teams in the league. What about the other 20 teams, right? The other 20 teams have no incentive. They're still going to rest people. They're still going to rest people so that they can be ready for the playoffs. So we're only talking about the bottom three that's penalized, and they need to get up to the fourth slot. It does nothing. It really does nothing. It's not a system. Yeah, you won't see teams overtly tanking like Utah did, that they're all the players out of the game in the fourth quarter after they was leading and they lose the game. But the good teams that you want to see play, they're still going to load manage. They're still going to do that. So I don't see how this the perception of it says it's helping the league and taking away tanking. I just don't see that it's that big of a deal, to be honest with you, that they're going to change the whole draft lottery. I don't see it.
Look, tanking has always been a big deal for me. I think this year was horrendous when it came to the issue of tanking. You had so many teams that packed it in around All-Star break with a quarter of the season left to go. So to me, tanking was definitely an issue. Now, I could agree with you in the sense that I don't know if this solves it, because I've said before on this show, and I'm just going to reiterate it. I don't believe that tanking is fixable, because just like the lottery and the draft has always been a part of the game, right? Or the draft in general has always been a part of games, right? Meaning beyond the NBA, NFL, MLB. Tanking has always been a part of those games as well.
Yeah, I agree.
And although I hate it, and although I think that there should be things that Adam Silver does to combat that. Now, what exactly? Guess what? If I knew what it was, I would be the commissioner. I'm not the commissioner. I'm just a listener, not the commissioner. Okay. I think there should be other alternative ways that should be able to address tanking. Maybe bigger fines, right? If that means anything, right? Maybe something got to be done. But I don't think this would help anything, because you look at the playing game. Adam Silver has made constant efforts to make the regular season more competitive. And again, I hate to be the odd man in the room, and I'm always going to be the odd man. And sometimes when you're the odd man, you look like you don't know what the hell you're talking about. So I'm willing to take the bullet. I just believe that this season is too long. And that's where the tanking, becomes an even more prevalent issue. That's where all the other issues become more prevalent, like load management, tanking. All those issues it was injuries, things that sometimes is uncontrollable. But yeah, I mean, you limit the regular season, you may limit the probability of having injuries, right? Major injuries at that. So to me, the season is just too long. And I understand that the NBA is making money with these streaming services and whatnot. So they don't want to, shorten the regular season. In fact, they might want to increase it, okay, as long as it is. But until we address that elephant, I think that these other minor tweaks to the lottery is not going to help. You tweaked it before. The way how it is today wasn't how it was 15 years ago. Okay, you tweaked it before. What happened? It didn't work. It did not work. So you're going to tweak it again? Are we sure it's going to work? It's not. To me, when you incorporated the playing game, guess what it did? Yeah, I like the playing game. I think the playing game overall, the pros outweigh the cons. But let's look at the cons, right? Okay, well, guess what? We got to tank earlier because we don't want to make the playing game. It's so easy to make the playing game. So guess what? We got to make our tank on before the All-Star game because we don't want to play in the playing game. We don't want to win, right? So now you have that. But then you have the team in no man's land either as well. And you don't want to be in no man's land. You don't want a bad team to continue to be a bad team. You want a bad team to get better because that increases your product. That makes your product more competitive. Ask Detroit. They lived in the lottery system. Guess what? Detroit is the number one seed in the Eastern Conference. Ask San Antonio. They lived in the lottery. Guess what? San Antonio is the number 2 seed in the Western Conference. Okay? Probably going to advance. So, I get it. It's a panic job. But look, if you're Adam Silver, you gotta stop having the fans and being so collaborative when it comes to changes. You're being too collaborative.
It ain't even the fans, it's the media. You don't hear a lot of fans complaining about taking our load management. It's more the media. It's a media-driven thing more than anything. And that's
being driven by the media.
Yep.
He's being driven by the media. Adam Silver was like, "Oh, you heard? Yeah, I'm on it." No, you the commissioner. The media works for you. You don't work for the media. So yeah, I look, I get it. It's an issue. Things need to be done, but I just don't think this is the way. And that's how
Yeah.
I see it.
Last thing I'll say about it is you're right. The season is too long, but it'll never change. Too much money involved, so it'll never change the length of the season. But when you look at baseball and basketball, there's so many games, Leo, that it doesn't put an emphasis on competitiveness, right? You look at the NFL, they play 18 games. Every 18 games means something. It's a big deal every week that they play. Everybody's looking forward to Sunday for those 17 games, and every one of them matters, right? That's why you see bad teams who could have had the number one pick win on week 18 and lose the number one pick. Because when people play football, football is not a game that you can play half-ass or at half speed. You will get hurt, right? And so the commissioners there don't have that issue of tanking. They have the opposite. The fans be hollering, tank, 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 and the players don't. Silva is knee-jerk. He reacts to every little crook and nanny on what these people say. Leave it alone. It's set up for the bad teams to get the best players. Look at San Antonio. They got Wemby. They've changed their culture. Detroit got Cade Cunningham and the other people. They've changed their culture, right? OKC got all those draft picks in the lottery, changed their culture. Leave it alone. It's not broken. It just seems to, because you got the wrong people complaining about it.
My last point, the way how I see it, and you mentioned the point about the NFL and how they address tanking. Tanking has never been an issue. Now, there's been spurts of outright tanking. Allied Doug Peterson and the Eagles that year where he literally took his guys out, but that's not happening every single year. That's like an anomaly in the NFL. The way how I see it is the talent pool, the development pool is different in the NFL compared to the NBA. I think in the NBA, it takes guys longer to develop, whereas in the NFL, they're more developed, especially running backs. Running backs, they literally can go out there and play. They won a lot of other positions, offensive linemen, you could go out there and play. They won. I think development has a lot to do with that, but I also think that the NBA being a players-driven league has something to do with that as well. I mean, look at the lottery today. I watched the lottery as well. You had guys that had pick number 5, pick number 4, and they were not smiling. It's almost like they lost, like my season is over. Like nobody was smiling other than the guy who had the number 1 pick, John Wall. It's like, yo, this is a heavy draft class. Number 1, this is the best draft class in a long time. Yeah. A lot of great prospects out there. And I lied, I do got more because I do want to give my overall takeaway winners and losers of the draft. I want to talk about the Wizards and what having that number 1 pick means. But I would say this, like nobody was smiling. It's like that never happens in the NFL. You get the number 5 pick, man. You out here happy. You know what I'm saying? Like all the way down to the first round and beyond. In the NBA, it's like you don't get the number 1 pick. It's a wrap.
Because in the NBA, the one player can totally change the direction of a team in the NBA. Correct. The NFL, one player will not do that. You have to draft. You have to. You're dealing with 22 players that you have to work as a cohesive unit, and that's why. And because you can have the number 1 pick in the NFL, and you could have a very special player, you still get your ass beat on Sundays because it's a different vibe and it's
more team reliant.
Absolutely,
it's more team reliant than the NBA, and that's why people are tanking, and that's why teams are tanking because the NBA, as much as we like to say, oh, don't call the NBA non-team reliant, don't call the NBA a superstar driven league. If it wasn't a superstar driven league, tanking wouldn't be an issue.
There you go.
Bar. It's over. The show was done. I got more to say, but the show was done. Okay, I could leave. I can leave this show right now on that note. But guess what? I got more. All right. Let's talk about the Wizards. They got the number 1 overall pick. And Lee, if you're a Wizards fan, how should they feel right now? Have the number 1 overall pick. Do you believe that they're building a solid foundation there?
Absolutely. I think now the big question for the Wizards will be, Are they going to trade Anthony Davis this offseason? Because initially, there were talk that Anthony Davis didn't want to be there. I think now with getting the number one pick, now who do you bring in there? The Peterson kid is an explosive scorer, but the Batsa, 6'9", 6'10", athletic wing. You already supposedly the Sar kid was supposed to be that, but he's not. I just think the Wizards are setting themselves up for a great, pick the Batsa, keep Anthony Davis. You got Trae Young. You're really starting to build a team now that can be competitive in the Eastern Conference. So I think the Wizards are in good shape. Like you said, it's a hell of a draft, but get the Batsa kid, roll with it, keep AD. The only thing about AD, if he's unhappy, what can you flip him for? I would say, AD, shut up. You're on a contract. You're going to be a Washington Wizard and keep it moving.
Yeah, and look, the Wizards have made a number of big moves this season, obviously trading for Trae Young and Anthony Davis. They still have the number 6 overall pick from last year's draft and Trey Johnson. So adding a guy like Batsa or Peterson could give them a solid foundation. I do believe Batsa is a better fit than all the other guys. I believe that you could slide him right in there. I also believe that Batsa, along with Sar and Anthony Davis, could overcome the defensive shortcomings of Trae Young. They're more better equipped to do so with Batsa. So
a bigger front line, that would be good.
Exactly. So that will be able to overcome the shortcomings of Trae Young defensively. So to me, that should be a no-brainer. And Batsa can score the basketball as well. You look at him on tape, he can score the basketball. He could he's very, lengthy. Is a very good player. I think he's up top. That's the no-brainer right there.
He's very athletic for a 6'9", 6'10" kid. He can do everything.
Agreed.
Can handle the basketball. Great pickup. I think Washington set him up very well.
Absolutely. The loser for me, and this is why we end off. The loser is the Warriors. Obviously, a team that's trying to, maximize the window of Curry, try to extend it as much as they can. Obviously, championship, to me, those days are long gone. But if they had the number 4 or the top 4 pick in the draft, they probably could have been able to flex it for, a decent player or something. But look, they're going to be the biggest loser because you look at the 3 lottery picks they had in the last 10 years or so. James Wiseman, number 2 overall. Jonathan Kuminga, number 7 overall. Moses Mooney, number 14 overall. None of those players achieved all-star level status. So the Warriors are going to have to prove with the pick that they do have right now, which I believe is the number 14 pick.
It's over.
It's over. They're going to have to show me something that they haven't done in the last couple of years, which is develop a lottery player. So if they can do so, maybe they can give Curry some help. But right now, man, I think they're in no man's land. They just gave us Steve Kerr that contract that I believe was a 2-year deal, made him the highest paid coach. But to be honest with you, he's going to be coaching all the way to Cancun. I don't think the Warriors are definitely in a great spot when it comes to optimizing that Curry window.
Yeah, look, as we get out of here, I'm going to tell you this. It's over, and I agree with you. The Warriors didn't do anything. It's over for the Warriors. The Warriors, Steph's going to ride off into the sunset. Great player. He's going to play 2-3 more years. If I was Steph Curry, I'd say, look, guys, I love you, but I got to go someplace else where I can compete for a championship level. But it's over for the Warriors. It's over for the Warriors because you don't even – this is – last thing I'll say, you heard the comments that Draymond Green made to Charles Barkley when he was talking about his last years in Houston. Well, Draymond, if you could get to the numbers that Charles Barkley had his last 2 years, which are some of his most downer years from when he was in Philly, you would probably help the Warriors. It's over for them. Draymond, you're a role player, a good role player, but that's what you are, and it's over for the Warriors, man. So I totally agree with you.
It's over for the Warriors, and it's just beginning for the New York Knicks. I am on cloud 9, okay? I am not walking into work tomorrow with an attitude or smiles over here because right now I can smell it. It's coming, all right? I can smell it. Listen, it's going down. Lee, I want to thank you for coming on this show on this Mother's Day and giving the people a great episode. It feels good to be back. It's been a couple
Absolutely.
of weeks, about a month. Hopefully we can run it right back next week
We
and
will.
produce the great episodes that we do on a regular basis. Lee, feel free to plug yourself in.
Yeah, after the Buzzer Show with Lee Jones, we'll start back next Sunday. I've been working for my college up here in Baltimore, so it's just travel and all that. But we'll be back on next week. And man, I look forward to this, man. Great show today. And check me out after the Buzzer Show with Lee Jones every Sunday. And I love being on with the real Lil. Great show today, Lil.
Maybe we do it on your platform next Sunday. Switch it up like that. And Lee, thanks for coming on. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. This is the Real Lil on the Real Lil Show, and we out. Peace.
Sports, politics, conspiracy theories. We are here to give you our unique perspectives on things happening in the world. It's the one and only, the Real Lil on the Real Lil Show.